I caught my wife cheating in the most shocking way. Her lies, betrayal, and gaslighting destroyed everything I thought our marriage was. You won't believe what happened next. Hey Reddit. Throwaway account for obvious reasons. I, 36M, have been married to my wife, Tara, 34F, for 8 years. We've been together since college. High school sweethearts who everyone thought were couple goals. We got married right after she finished grad school, bought a house, adopted a dog, the whole picture-perfect setup. If you asked me a few months ago, I would have told you we had a solid marriage. Not perfect, but stable. We laughed, we argued sometimes, we did the normal married stuff. But around 6 months ago, something changed, subtle at first. She started going out more with her co-workers, working late more often, keeping her phone on silent. She used to leave her phone lying around all the time, but suddenly it was like that thing was glued to her hand. I tried to rationalize it. She'd just been promoted, more responsibilities, new people at work, maybe she was trying to fit in. But little things started to gnaw at me. Her tone when she spoke to me became impatient, almost condescending. She'd roll her eyes at small things I said. Sometimes she'd sigh dramatically when I asked simple questions, like I was bothering her just by existing. I brushed it off because I didn't want to be that guy. The paranoid husband. I told myself I trusted her, and I did. At least I wanted to. But deep down, something didn't feel right. 2 weeks after that late night karaoke incident, Tara started guarding her phone like it contained nuclear codes. She'd take it to the bathroom, sleep with it face down, even got a new passcode for security reasons. One night, she left for another team dinner. I wasn't suspicious anymore, I was watchful. I noticed details, like how she always came home freshly reapplied with lipstick, or how she'd hum on her way out. Almost giddy. That night, she texted me saying she'd be home by 10, but by 11:30, she wasn't. I called, no answer. I texted, no reply. Finally, around midnight, she sent, "Sorry, we're just wrapping up." Except when I checked her location on Find My, which we'd set up years ago for safety, she wasn't at a restaurant. She was in a quiet residential neighborhood across town. My stomach dropped. I tried to reason it out, maybe someone's house party, but her office friends were the "let's have one glass of wine and complain about spreadsheets" type, not after party at someone's place people. So yeah, I did something I never thought I'd do. I drove there. I parked a few houses away and saw her car out front. Lights were on inside. My hands were shaking so hard on the steering wheel I could barely hold my phone. I wasn't sure what I wanted to see or not see. After about 20 minutes, she came out. Not alone. A guy followed her to her car, tall, wearing a hoodie. They kissed. Not a quick goodbye kiss either. A full, slow, comfortable kiss. I froze. Everything in me went numb. My wife, the woman who used to fall asleep holding my hand, was out here, kissing some guy goodnight like I didn't exist. She got in her car, fixed her lipstick in the mirror, and drove home. And I just sat there in my car, staring at that house, trying to process what I'd just seen. She walked in a little after 1 a.m., humming softly like nothing was wrong. I was sitting on the couch, lights off, just waiting. My heart was hammering so hard I thought she'd hear it before she saw me. When she finally noticed me, she jumped a little. "Jesus, you scared me. Why are you sitting here in the dark?" I didn't say anything at first. I just looked at her. Then, quietly, "Who's the guy you were kissing outside his house?" Her face froze, for maybe half a second, before she scoffed, that same mocking tone she always used when she wanted to dodge accountability. "What are you talking about?" "I saw you, Tara. I drove there. I saw you." Now the panic showed, a flash in her eyes, but she doubled down fast. "Wow, you followed me. Are you serious right now? Do you have any idea how psycho that sounds?" "Tara, I saw you kissing him." She threw her purse down. "You probably saw something else. Maybe it looked like that, but you're twisting things. You're obsessed with this idea that I'm cheating because you're insecure." I swear, the gaslighting was so quick it almost made me question reality for a second. Almost. Then she sighed dramatically and rolled her eyes. "Fine. You know what? He's a coworker. He's going through a divorce and was upset. I was comforting him." "God, you're unbelievable." I laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was so insane. "You kissed him like that to comfort him?" "Yeah," she snapped. "It was a mistake, okay? It was a stupid, emotional moment. Are you happy now? You got your confession. I hope it makes you feel like a man again." That line hit me like a bullet. I just sat there, staring at her, realizing how easily she twisted everything. She went to bed without another word, leaving me sitting in the dark, shaking, half from anger, half from heartbreak. That was the night I knew the marriage I thought I had was over. I just hadn't accepted it yet. The next morning, she acted like nothing happened. She came downstairs in her robe, hair tied up, scrolling through her phone, and said in the sweetest voice, "Do you want me to make coffee?" Like we hadn't just had a nuclear-level argument about her kissing another man. I just stared at her. "Tara, we're not going to pretend that didn't happen." She sighed, like I was the one exhausting her. "I told you it was a mistake. It meant nothing. I don't want to talk about it anymore. You're overreacting." "Overreacting," I said, my voice shaking. "You've been lying to me for weeks, and when I finally find out, you gaslight me. That's not a mistake, Tara. That's a choice." That's when she snapped. "Oh my God, stop being so dramatic. You've been distant for months. You never listen, and honestly, I felt lonely. But sure, let's make this all about how I ruined your perfect little life." I felt something inside me break then. The way she turned her cheating into my fault. It was like watching a stranger wear my wife's face. I told her I needed space and that I was going to stay with my brother for a few days. She just shrugged and said, "Fine. Maybe some time apart will make you realize how ridiculous you're being." No tears, no begging, no remorse, just annoyance. As I packed a bag, she scrolled on her phone like nothing was happening. That's when I saw it. The screen lit up, and there it was, a text from a contact named Melissa Nail Polish. Except the preview read, "Last night was amazing. Can't stop thinking about you." My stomach turned. Melissa wasn't Melissa. That's when I knew this wasn't a one-time mistake. It was a full-blown affair. At my brother's place that morning, I couldn't stop thinking about that text. My mind was racing. I needed answers. I knew I couldn't just ask her, because she'd lie, twist it, gaslight me again. So, I did something desperate. I borrowed my brother's laptop and logged into our shared cloud backup. Yeah, we used it for photos and stuff. I wanted to see if there were breadcrumbs. Something. Anything. Within 5 minutes, I found it. A folder labeled Weekend Fun. Pictures, videos, screenshots, dates, locations. And there she was, Tara, kissing, laughing, texting, sneaking out at night. And Melissa Nail Polish? Not a coworker, not a friend, a guy, the same one I had seen outside his house. Every lie she had told me, every emotional moment, excuse, every accusation that I was overreacting, all of it was just her trying to keep me blind. I sat there, staring at the screen, shaking so badly that I had to set the laptop on the floor. The betrayal hit me like a freight train. Every happy memory, every shared plan. I couldn't trust that any of it was real anymore. And then it clicked. That subtle impatience, the late nights, the phone glued to her hand, the perfume she wore like a signal. It all made sense. She hadn't just cheated once. She had built a secret life while I was trying to hold us together. I didn't know what to do next. Cry? Scream? Confront her again? I just sat there, numb, with the cold glow of my laptop screen lighting up her lies. I went home that evening, my hands trembling with a mix of rage and exhaustion. I didn't even knock. I just walked in and sat at the kitchen table with my laptop open. Tara came down a few minutes later, hair messy, robe loosely tied, coffee in hand. She paused when she saw the screen glowing between us. "Seriously? What now?" she said, trying to sound casual. I didn't answer. I flipped through the photos and screenshots. Every smile, every kiss, every text from Melissa Nail Polish was there, undeniable, time-stamped, and in full color. "Explain this," I said finally, my voice tight. She looked at the laptop like it was a spider on the floor. Then she laughed, a short, harsh, bitter laugh. "Oh wow, so this is what you've been doing? Snooping? Are you proud of yourself?" I couldn't believe it. Not shame, not guilt, just deflection and mockery. "This isn't snooping," I said. "This is reality. You lied. Every night, every week, every single thing you said about work, dinners, or friends, lies. And don't try to gaslight me again. I know everything." Her face flushed, but not with remorse. Anger. "You're insane. You think this changes anything? You're acting like a victim because you can't control me. Maybe if you were a better husband." I slammed my hand on the table. "Stop. Stop right there. Don't you dare make this my fault. You made choices. I didn't hurt anyone. I didn't lie to myself for months pretending everything was fine while you. She cut me off with a laugh and a wave of her hand, like I was being ridiculous. Fine. You caught me. Happy. You're still here. You're still me. I'm not leaving. You can't do anything about it. Get over it. That night, she went to bed smug, as if proving me powerless was a victory. I lay on the couch, staring at the ceiling, feeling like my entire world had shifted under me. I realized then that there was no salvaging her version of our marriage. If she couldn't even feel remorse, if she could turn me catching her cheating into me being the problem, I had to make a choice about myself. The next few days were a blur. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her laughing with him, felt her perfume on someone else, heard her voice gaslighting me. I went through a cycle. Disbelief. This can't be real. She wouldn't do this. Not to me. Not after everything we've built. Anger. I wanted to scream at her, throw things, break everything in the house just to make her feel even a fraction of what I felt. But I didn't. I couldn't. I had to be the adult. Heartbreak. When I allowed myself to feel, I crumpled. I cried in the shower, in the car, on the couch. Memories replayed in painful slow motion. Our first apartment, our first trip, the dog we rescued together, all tarnished by betrayal. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and utterly powerless. Every time I tried to process logically, a new wave of anger or sadness slammed into me. I even questioned myself. Was I missing something? Could I have done more? But deep down, I knew the answer. This wasn't on me. It was entirely her. I started journaling to keep my thoughts straight. Writing it down made me realize the pattern, the lies, the sneaky behavior, the entitlement, the gaslighting. And that's when I made a decision. I needed to reclaim control of my life. Not through confrontation or revenge, but through clarity and action. After days of sleepless nights and spiraling thoughts, I realized I couldn't live like this anymore, trapped between anger, betrayal, and a woman who didn't seem capable of remorse. I needed a plan. I sat down with a notebook and wrote, what do I want? What is acceptable? What is my deal breaker? The answers were painfully clear. I wanted honesty. I wanted respect. I wanted a partner, not someone who treated me like a fool while living a double life. Tara couldn't give me that. So I made the hardest decision I've ever had to make. I was going to leave, at least temporarily, to give myself space to think, process, and figure out if there was any path forward, with or without her. I called a family lawyer friend discreetly, not to start a battle, but to understand my rights. I moved some of my essentials to my brother's place. And most importantly, I stopped trying to justify her actions or make excuses for her. For the first time in weeks, I felt a flicker of empowerment. I was no longer waiting for her to come clean or apologize. I was acting for myself. It hurt like hell, but it felt necessary. The morning after I moved some of my things to my brother's, Tara confronted me in the driveway. She was wearing the same smug expression she had the night I caught her. Where do you think you're going? She asked, arms crossed. I need space, I said calmly, keeping my voice steady even though my chest was tight. I need to think about us, about everything that's happened. You've made your choices. Now I need to make mine. She laughed, like I had just announced I was leaving for a week-long grocery run. Space? You mean you're running away because you can't handle the truth? This isn't about running away, I said, stepping closer. This is about not letting you manipulate me anymore. I need distance so I can figure out what's best for me. She rolled her eyes. Fine. Go. Go sulk at your brother's. See if that makes you feel like a man again. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. I just got in my car and left. And for the first time in months, I didn't feel like a victim. I felt like I had a sliver of control back. Her reaction told me everything I needed to know. She had no intention of changing, no intention of acknowledging the damage she had caused. And that was the last piece I needed to fully accept the situation. The first week at my brother's place was brutal. I had packed my essentials, but I hadn't packed for the emotional onslaught that hit me like a freight train. Nights were the worst, silent, empty, haunted by memories of laughter and conversations now tainted by betrayal. I did everything to process it. I cried like I hadn't in years, letting the grief spill out in the shower, on the couch, even in the car. I journaled every feeling, anger, sadness, disbelief, just to make sense of it. I went for long runs, letting my body exhaust itself while my mind wrestled with the truth. The loneliness was raw. I felt abandoned in a marriage I thought was mutual, safe, and loving. But through the haze of heartbreak, a strange clarity began to form. I realized the pain wasn't just from losing Tara's fidelity. It was from losing the illusion of the marriage I believed we had. I allowed myself to feel the full spectrum of emotions without judgment. Anger, sadness, confusion, even fleeting moments of hope that maybe she'd reach out with honesty. Each wave of emotion taught me something about myself, about what I would and wouldn't tolerate, and about the kind of relationship I deserved. By the end of that week, the grief was still there, but so was a growing sense of resolve. I wasn't ready to forgive or forget, but I was ready to reclaim my life. After 2 weeks of living apart, I knew it was time to face reality. Tara hadn't reached out, except for a few passive-aggressive texts that blamed me for overreacting or being dramatic. Nothing sincere, no apology, no acknowledgement of the damage she caused. I realized something painfully clear. She wasn't going to change. She wasn't going to admit her faults. She wasn't going to value the marriage enough to fight for it. I made my decision. I couldn't stay in a relationship built on lies and manipulation. I needed to protect my own well-being. I called her that night. My voice was steady, cold even. Tara, I've thought about everything. I can't continue this marriage. I need a separation, at least for now, to figure out how to move forward, and right now, that means apart from you. She tried to argue, tried to twist it, tried to blame me, but I didn't budge. I listened politely, but I didn't respond with excuses or defenses. I simply reiterated that this was my decision, for my sanity and self-respect. After we hung up, a weight lifted. I knew the path ahead would be hard. Divorce proceedings, heartbreak, loneliness. But for the first time, I felt like I had taken back control of my life. The days after the call were a strange mix of relief and emptiness. I felt like I had stepped off a cliff, terrifying, but also freeing. For the first time in months, I wasn't constantly on edge, trying to read her tone, decode her lies, or anticipate her next move. I focused on myself. I reconnected with friends I had neglected. Nights out, long conversations, laughter without guilt. I returned to hobbies I had set aside, running, photography, even cooking elaborate meals just for me. Therapy became a lifeline. Talking to a professional helped me untangle the anger, sadness, and betrayal in a safe space. Every day, I felt a little lighter. The grief didn't vanish. It never really would. But I was learning that my life didn't have to be defined by her choices. I also started envisioning my future without her. Not in a bitter, angry way, but as a possibility. A life where honesty, respect, and love were not optional. Slowly, I remembered what it felt like to trust myself again. It was messy, painful, and slow, but I was reclaiming my identity piece by piece. Looking back, the experience was devastating, but it taught me a lot about myself and about relationships. Here's what I've realized. Trust is fragile, and once it's broken, it's not easy to rebuild. Not everyone deserves a second chance. Your gut is usually right. I ignored my instincts for months, convincing myself everything was fine. Trusting your intuition matters. Boundaries are essential. I learned I can't compromise my self-respect for someone else's convenience. Healing is active. Moving forward requires conscious effort. Therapy, friends, hobbies, and self-reflection. Some people reveal their true selves under pressure. Tara's reaction showed me exactly who she is. It hurt to see, but better now than later. I won't lie, some nights I still feel a pang of sadness. But I also feel empowered, aware, and capable of building a future that prioritizes honesty, love, and mutual respect. I wish I could tell my past self to see the red flags sooner and to prioritize his own well-being from the start. Now, several months later, I'm finally finding peace. I still feel the sting of betrayal, but it no longer defines me. I've rebuilt my life on my own terms. Honest friendships, personal growth, and a renewed sense of self-worth. What I've learned, and what I want anyone in a similar situation to know. You are not responsible for someone else's choices. Cheating, lying, and gaslighting are not your fault. Trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. Don't ignore the red flags. Take space when you need it. Sometimes leaving a toxic situation temporarily is the only way to see clearly. Healing takes time. There's no rush. Allow yourself to feel, grieve, and rebuild. I'm not here to bash Tara endlessly. She made her choices, and I made mine. What matters now is that I live a life that reflects my values and respects my boundaries. To anyone reading this who suspects betrayal or is going through heartbreak, pay attention to your feelings, protect your heart, and remember that leaving is not a weakness, it's self-respect. I'm moving forward, slowly but surely. And for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm finally free.